Welcome everyone to week two recordings, or sorry, not recordings, ratings. Um, the explosive veto meeting just occurred. That's why up here in the corner are um, everything's happening right now. Um, Juliana, I mean, you'll see this in the episode. You have seen this in the episode. Juliana, Kate, and Dan had no idea.
They were
Um,
blind, oblivious. They were like, "Oh my god, it's gonna be so funny when Julia goes on the block."
So the house is erupting right now. And just for clarification, it is Wednesday, December 2nd. Yes. Eviction is tomorrow night. Yeah. And we have our ratings for this week.
Wow. Alrighty, well, let's get this started. So as always, we are going to start with the current head of household. So, we've got Maeve here. As a bit of a recap,
Am I on the or hold on. Oh, these are the average ratings.
this is where everyone stands last week. So last week, Alex was on top. Matt was down at the bottom.
Okay. So I guess I'll go first. Maeve, I wish I had what I gave people last week. Do you have
Oh, guess what? I do have that.
Oh.
Let me just pull that up real fast. All right, yes. So last week, we both gave Maeve fives.
Okay. So I gave Maeve last week a 5 because I felt like she was kind of just in the shadows. She had a few people, but James was really her like person she was stuck to. So since becoming the sole head of household this week, I feel like she's really improved her game, and she made a really ballsy move 10 minutes ago. I don't know. I feel like she's like, I don't know if she's in a very good spot. It's hard to judge moving forward where she will be, but I feel like she has enough people around her to protect her, even if the Julianas and the Kates and the other Graces of the Lukes of the world want to come after her. I feel like she has enough people around her to protect her. I'm gonna give Maeve. I'll give Maeve a 6 this week.
Alrighty, so Steven moves up from a 5 to a 6. Here's where I'm at with Maeve. Was this a good move for Maeve's game? I think debatable. I think it's certainly a big move. I think it's certainly not a bad move. However, here's the bad news for her. Or one, I'll start with this. Compared to her game last week, she certainly reached out and made a bunch more allies. That takes her up a bunch more numbers, I think. So that's been super impressive, and it's been great to see her play more actively this week. Although she didn't want the HOH, I think allies-wise, it really did help her out, and she needed it. Flip side, though, she just made a huge enemy out of everyone from season 3. Dan, Kate, Juliana, Grace, Luke, Reza. They all will have no hesitation nominating her, and the 5 of them that do end up staying will be gunning for the HOH and will nominate her. Because the thing is, they don't realize it's the entire house that flipped on them. They think it's Maeve and maybe someone that convinced her. So, the other bad news for Maeve is in that huge group of people, I think she's like bottom rung. I think people, if it's between Maeve and someone else in that alliance, I think they have no problem cutting Maeve. So for that reason, I think it balances out. I'm actually going to stay at my 5, which gives Maeve's average as a 5.5. Moving on to one of the nominees this week, we have Grace Del Pizzo.
Okay.
Last week, Steven gave Grace a 5, and I gave Grace a 4.
Okay. Watching Grace in the Heroes versus Villains competition this week was very tough. It was very obvious that Reza was throwing it to have them stay on the block. But it's looking good for Grace this week. I think Dan is probably like, there's no way that Dan doesn't leave. I don't think so. It's looking very good for Grace this week. I think that although she is in that season 3 group, I don't think that people come after her first out of all of the season 3ers. I think they go for Kate first and then Juliana and then those people. So I think Grace's time on the block this week will be actually beneficial to her, because I don't think that she will be seen as a nominee again very soon, is my guess. Let's see. I definitely want to go up on Grace this week, I feel like. Because she did definitely come out of the shadows this week. A little more, obviously, because she was nominated. I'm I'll go 6 on Grace this week.
Okay. I don't feel the need to go up on Grace this week. Do I think she's staying? Absolutely. There's no doubt that she's staying. Knock on wood there. But I think Grace is not in danger for that reason. And I do agree that of the remaining 5 season 3 people, I think priority number 1 for people is to target people like Kate and Luke. I think Grace kind of falls in that tier 2 where it takes one of them to win a veto or win a comp, and all of a sudden she's that primary target. So that is a little bit dangerous for her. I do think people do have her back. So because season 3 is under so much fire and there is such a high risk, I can't move up. But that being said, I'm not going to move down. I am going to stay at my 4 yet again for Grace. So Grace's rating is a 5. Now we're moving on to Daniel Tate. Last week, I gave Dan a 6 and Stephen gave Dan a 7. Stephen, what are your thoughts this week?
Dan Tate, oh no. That whole alliance, man, like, oh, you're too confident. Too confident. That was hard to watch tonight on FaceTime. That was like actually hard to watch. Because I saw his like game flash before his eyes when he was nominated. It felt so bad. But like, I don't want to say you had it coming, but like you kind of had it coming. Like, God, like I don't think there's any way Dan doesn't go home this week. All right, I'm just gonna give him a 2. That's just I'm just gonna leave it at that.
Yeah. You can just give Dan a 2. Alrighty. Dan, 99 times out of 100 in this situation is going home. He was I keep talking about the line between confident and cocky, and him, Kate, and Juliana were cocky as all hell. It was hilarious to watch, but they did not see this coming. They had no time to plan. Had they known it was coming and they had time to Dan's diary room. I didn't realize Dan was French for Julia. I just found that funny. Anyway, if he had time to plan around this and gather out, like maybe, and could have nipped some of this in the bud, maybe my rating isn't as low as it's going to be. And to his credit, if there's anyone that can pull it off, it's him. And he does have some numbers, particularly with Juliana, Kate, Luke, maybe Julia. But unfortunately, that's 4, and he's not getting any more. I really want to give him a 1 because he really deserves it. So that's what I'm gonna do.
Oh no.
You got caught. You got too caught up in scheming. And I just see no possible way for you to stay. There is 0 chance.
But
everyone's already out of their minds.
I worry that Juliana and Kate don't stay together. I worry that G. Cornelius will be broken up with Dan gone.
I disagree with that. I think they'll definitely. I think their game strategy will change, but I think they need each other.
Oh, definitely, but I don't think it'll be. I don't know. I think it'll be kind of weird. And B. I have no idea what I was gonna say. I kind of forgot. Yeah. Okay.
Alrighty. Well. Moving on now to the dethroned HOH and her nominees. We are going to Caitlin Powell. Last week, Caitlin got a 5 from me and got a 4 from Stephen. Stephen, where do you stand?
Okay. Caitlin also has come out of the shadows since last week, which is nice because that's why I gave her a 4 last week. I think I'd give people low ratings when I don't really see them, which is fair, I guess, even though they might not be in danger. But I like that I don't think she wanted to win HOH, but she did, and I think that kind of forced her hand to play a little more. Nominating Anthony and David. I feel like she had to know or something that she would get dethroned. Like those are two of the biggest competition like threats. David is either tied for the record or right under the record. He would have been tied if he won, but
For what?
for the most competition wins, he's right under it.
David is tied currently. David, James, and K Pow all have 9 across their seasons.
And Anthony too, who won like 3-4 back-to-back competitions in season 2. So I feel like that was not one of her strongest moves. I feel like she could have just nominated 2 easy pawns from the villain side. But I do like where she stands in the game right now because I don't think that people really are like gunning for her. I think that Anthony and David were going to, but then they kind of mended fences. And I think she's fine now. So I'm gonna give Caitlin what I give her last week, a 4.
I gave her 4 last week.
I will give her a 6 this week.
Very nice. I'm ready. I too think that Caitlin's HOH was an overall win for her. I think her and Maeve both came into it saying that they really did not want to win. But I think they both needed the win to advance their games and kind of like stay relevant, as bad or weird as it sounds. And I think she did a great job unintentionally. I think she didn't mind not being HOH. So her nominating Anthony and David, I don't think she handled it too well and that she just told them and was like, here you go. But after they won, she did do a lot of damage control. I don't think they're holding any animosity, and in fact are now very unified over taking out Dan. And so overall, I think coming out of this week is a positive for her. I think if she's able to just keep up the communication with these people, she'll be in a fine spot. So I'm also going to go up. I'm going to go to a 6 as well.
All right.
Moving on to Anthony Ventresca, who was one of Caitlin's nominees. Last week, Anthony received a 6 from Steven and a 5 from myself.
I think Anthony had a very smart move this week after he won Battle of the Block, or sorry, the Heroes versus Villains competition, after he won. And Julia was most likely going to go up. I think that he had a smart move of telling Bella and then Julia of the plan, because I think Anthony Hayes takes a lot of credit for it, but I don't know if it would have been put into motion had like none of them known. So I think he was saying a lot that he like sunk his game, like he was really worried that he's paranoid all the time, but like he was like, I sunk my game, like it's over, like that was a dumb decision, but like that was really smart, I think. I don't know, I think Anthony's in a very good spot. I am gonna give Anthony a 7 this week.
Alrighty, I agree. I'm definitely going up on Anthony. He definitely improved his position a lot. He talked to a lot more people. And not only has he talked to them, he's made them feel very good. He got Julia on his side, who he was like, them two were not friends in season 2. So that was very effective. In addition, this is a very good move for him. I think he's tied a lot of people together. And I think a lot of people do trust him moving forward. I think a win for him still wouldn't be bad. Just because he has easy nominations. Anyone in that group has easy nominations to make in season 3. So yeah, I think he's overall improved his spot. He made good moves. He is largely responsible for why Dan is up. I don't think he's the main reason. He was the main start of it, and then I think someone else drove it to the finish line, which we'll get to a little bit down the line. But I think he's in a great spot. I don't think people target him in that group. I think people look to Maeve. I think season 3 looks to the people that they thought they had. Namely Maeve. I think they suspect James a little bit. So for those reasons, I am going to move Anthony Ventresca up to a 7 as well. Moving on to David. Last week, David received 7s from both of us.
Cool. David, again, he was nominated, but he's still like not like, yeah. He's still not in anyone's really crosshairs. So I don't even get how these big threats that we thought were going to go so early are still like laying low and now in a really good position. So I gave him a 7 last week, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he also like really contributed to this idea or this move, and he's pretty much like has his hands clean. Like it's pretty impressive, to be honest. I think I'm going to move up to an 8 this week for David.
Alrighty, Steven's moving up to an 8. I agree that David played this week very, 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 very well. His move to make Reza throw the comp was ingenious because had Reza not thrown the comp, Grace wins rounds 1, 2, 3, 4, and they're stuck on the block. One thing I was kind of needing to see from David is that if he was on the block, he wouldn't go crazy and start turning up plans and go crazy and berserk like he did in season 1. And I think we did see that, but we saw it in a controlled manner so that it wasn't obvious. He definitely schemed and he planned, but he got himself off the block and now he's right back under the radar and people aren't too suspicious. The one issue I think is of that group, he is seen as a schemer. And now that he has been on the block once, it's super easy to just put someone back up on the block again. So I'm not going to move up on David, but I'm not going to move down. I'm going to keep David at a 7 for me.
Okay.
7.5. Alrighty. Reza. So Reza was on the block on Maeve's side, but won the veto to save himself. Last week, Reza received a 5 from myself and a 3 from Steven.
Again, Reza is also someone that came out of the shadows due to a nomination this week, which I think is also very good for him. He won a veto to save himself, which is good because now he has a competition win under his belt and he's not like completely invisible anymore. Reza, however, is in that season 3 group, which I think is very in trouble in the coming weeks. But I think, like Alex said in his DR, like you can't just pick off an alliance like one by one. Like that's not how it works. Like you need to be flexible. So I don't know if it goes like Kate, Reza, Luke, Juliana, like in those order. Like I think that maybe another season 3 goes and then something gets switched up because I don't think this game is as stagnant as that.
And all season 3 is also very good at comps, so like don't count them out.
Oh, that's also what I was gonna say. Dan was very close to winning. I guess we can't say this. Okay. I won't say this. Never mind. I don't know if I could say this because people are watching this. It's going to be a spoiler for a later episode.
Huh? Okay.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you later, I guess. So yeah, Reza, I gave him a 3 last week. I think that throwing the Heroes versus Villains competition really solidified him with David and Anthony too. So I think that I'm going to give Reza this week. I'll give Reza a 6.
Okay. That was a very large jump up. Of the season 3 people, Reza's the person I feel best about. Because I think his move to solidify something with Anthony, with David, with Ross is what's going to keep him in the game next week compared to anyone else he's sitting on the block next to in season 3. I think Grace, I think Kate, I think Juliana, I think Luke all leave sitting next to Reza. And that's dangerous. So, but with that being said, Reza is still a part of that group and he hasn't reached out to people. So I do think he is still in a precarious position. So again, he's on that teeter-totter. I think allies-wise, he's gone up. I think position-wise, he might have gone back for some people. I'm going to keep Reza at my 5. Yes. Alrighty, so last week, moving on to Alex. Alex had 8s from both of us and was the highest scoring house guest. Steven, where do you stand on Alex now?
I don't really know if he's kind of advanced himself that much this week. I mean, he was put in that big group. I don't know. I still think he's in the same great position, but I don't see him this week kind of being as prominent as he kind of was laying in the shadows last week, if that makes sense. It's kind of like contradictory. But I don't see him going anywhere anytime soon. Like nobody's mad at him for anything that just happened. I'll give Alex a 7 this week. I'm gonna go down 1 because I'm gonna go 7. Yeah.
Alrighty. I do agree with you. I think Alex last week secured a lot of bonds and alliances with a lot of people. And I think this week he didn't check in on them or maintain them, and a lot of other people became closer to other people and not him. Um, Not to say that he's still not, like you said, it's not in the great spot. I think he is still in a great spot. He is included in that big group. He is actively talking in there, and he is smart. But that being said, I worry that he might have become expendable to some people and just a number rather than a more key ally, especially after this whole debacle where, like, I think Maeve, James, and Anthony are closer to each other, and I think Bella, Ross, and David have become closer to each other, and I think the season 3 become, and it kind of leaves him in a weird spot in the middle, where for now it's fine, but I worry he might get cut down the line a little later. So with that being said, I'm also going to move down on Alex just a little bit and give him a 7.
The villains chat right now is so salty. Oh my god. This is insanity. I'm so glad we're capturing this after the veto meeting. Like, this is crazy. Okay, you can move on to Anthony.
Yes, moving on to Anthony Hayes. So last week, Anthony Hayes received a 7 from Steven and a 6 from me. Steven, where do you stand on Anthony Hayes after this?
Let me just say, I love Anthony Hayes so much. I wish I could go higher than I am. But I think that a lot of these repercussions from this move fall onto him, just because everyone knows him and Maeve are so close. So I think, and he even said that, he was like, I know like a lot of this is gonna fall on me. But like he's protected, and I think he's gonna be okay, and I've no doubt that he is very smart, and I think that he will be able to keep a good cover on himself. You said I gave him a 7, right?
You gave him a 7 last week.
Shoot. All right, just for this week, or I guess not just for this week, but for right now, I will give him a 6.
Okay. Alrighty, so you went from a 7 to a 6. I don't know exactly what I'm going to do here because I am going up on Hayes. I gave him a 6 last week. I am going up. My question is, do I go to a 7 or do I go to an 8? Because I think Hayes has made so many more connections this week, has solidified the bonds with the people that he trusts, and I think that the blame mainly falls on Maeve, and because Maeve ran the season with James, I think people look to James. I think he is number 3 in that trio, and I do think that of that group, Maeve is most likely to be evicted, followed by James, followed by Hayes. So as long as he's on the block, especially next to Maeve, I think Maeve definitely goes. Next to James, he might have a little bit of a tougher time because James also, for some reason, God knows why, is good with everyone. So this is certainly dangerous territory. However, I do have to reward the huge steps that he made forward this week, even if in the future it gets taken back a bit. So for this week, I am going to go up, and I'm only going to go up to a 7. And I think depending on how this next week goes, will be very clear to see if he's going to continue up to the 8, 9, 10 territory, or if he's going to be targeted and move back down. But for right now, I will give a 7. Now we're talking about none other than Bella Deshays. Last week, Stephen gave Bella a 5, and I gave Bella a 4. Stephen, where do you stand on Bella?
I said this last night. I was like, it is literally a sin that Bella has not won a season yet. Like, I literally cannot believe it. Like,
it's a sin.
And did you say I gave her a 4 last week or a 5? Was that the 5?
I gave her a 5.
Okay. I gave her a 5 last week because she looked like it was because Dan, Kate, and Juliana were coming after her, but now they're the ones in danger. So it's like, what the hell is happening? And I just love her reactions to things. Like they were like, they're targeting Julia because like you and K-Pow are closer. She was like, first of all, like I like have not even said one word to them this season. Um, and just like I can't believe how like how influential she is. Like I just can't like everyone's like, oh yeah, I think like I trust Bella a lot. I'm like, why? Like why do you trust Bella? Ugh. But I think it's amazing. I think it's so funny to watch. That being said, I don't see her in the crosshairs anymore. Like I don't know how this happens. Um, I'm gonna give Bella a 7 this week.
All right, Stephen gives Bella a 7. Um, I'm also going up on Bella. Bella, literally, Kate, the person that's been targeting Bella non-stop from the beginning, is now saying like, "Oh yeah, and I actually do kind of trust Bella." And James is like, "Oh, this aligns with Bella. Oh, this is actually great. I didn't expect this." And everyone's like, "Oh, Bella's actually not that bad," which is the exact reason why they wanted her out so early. And like, they're not registering that. Like, Bella is just good at talking to people. Um, she's also in this group. I now do not think she is. I think, unfortunately, for season 4, this was an amazing move, but I think they're going to take the fall for this move. Bella just kind of looped in. She didn't push too hard, but she was in on the moves. She talked to Julia. She gained her trust more. She gained K-Pow's trust more, and now actually is close with them. She's got Ross and David right on her back. She's got Anthony Ventresca right by her side. Maeve is right on her side. She trusts Alex. Alex trusts her. Even a lot of the season 3 people, like Grace specifically, and Kate, do trust Bella. It is insane. That being said, season 4 is only made up of 3 people. If someone else has to go, I do still worry a little bit for Bella and Ross. So I am certainly going up. I'm going to go up to a 6. I think she will continue up, but I'm gonna say it a 6 for now.
It
All
really
right.
is like season 3 versus everyone else at this point. Like it's kind of
Season 3 and Juliet,
yeah.
who has been freaking invisible. Where are you at? But we'll get there. We'll talk about Juliet when we get to her. For now, Kate. Last week, Kate got a 7 from Steven and a 5 from myself.
Kate is looped in with Dan too. Like, oh my god, I cannot believe that they did not see this coming. And now even K-Pow's talking about like, I knew that if Kate and I were in the season together, like she was gonna try and manipulate me. So like K-Pow knows what's going on now. I think Kate's back is gonna be against the wall after this eviction, and I worry about her a lot. So I give her a 7 last week. I feel bad, but I'm gonna have to go all the way down to a 4.
Alrighty. Kate is down to a 4 for Steven. Last week I gave Kate a 5 for this exact reason. Kate, love her to death. She is hilarious. She's funny. She's extremely confident in her abilities to manipulate people. And on season 3, sure, that works, but these people have all played 1, maybe 2 times before and are through with being manipulated and all are thinking for themselves. And they're.
Modified villains. Oh no.
Her Dan. Oh yeah, I saw that modified villains. Her Dan and Juliana are not taking into account that people are not going to be pushed over so easily. Even now, I don't think she realizes that K-Pow and Julia have freaking turned on her. I think like she's gonna continue to try to do this, and I think they're coming after her. I don't think Kate realizes the danger that she's actually in. And I think anything she says will be seen as sneaky and be used against her. So I think in order to solidify any allies, she needs to win, which she can do, but there's a lot of other people gunning for this. It's not entirely likely. Last week I was at a 5. I'm gonna go down to a 3. I just don't. I think she is the main target for people moving into next week from the majority side of the house, and that is a really not good spot to be in.
What's the HOH competition again? Oh, it's the
Third Brain, which is
yeah.
the watch a video, answer questions.
Who has won that before? Matt Rip.
People have won that: Matt, Rip, Erin, Leah, and Maeve. But Maeve can't play. Matt is out. Leah's not in the season. And Erin really wants to win HOH, so we'll actually see. Erin's been good at it both times.
This is a thing. Like anybody can win this competition. Like
Yeah, it's a little bit crapshooty. One wrong question and you're done. Anywho, moving on to Emma Mack. Last week, Emma received a 5 from me and a 7 from Steven.
Let
Where do
me.
you stand on Emma Mack?
This is Emma's this HOH was Emma's fourth competition in a row where she was so close. She was so close. So upset. I really wanted her to win HOH this week. But maybe it was better that she didn't because then
And to be fair to Emma's credit, most times at the end, she does say, "Oh no, I don't want to win this."
yeah.
Um,
She could have gotten the answer and eliminated Caitlyn if she wanted to, but
absolutely.
but I want her to win something soon. I want her to win.
I want to win.
Unfortunately, the potential I saw in her last week has since diminished. Um, like I might have gone a little too high on Emma last week.
Definitely went a little too high with the second this
I
week.
was so confident in Emma. So yeah, this week we have not seen much of Emma, if at all, after the HOH competition. Unfortunately, I think I have to go down to a 4 on Emma too.
Alrighty. Let me just say, we are all over the damn place on where we stand with Emma because you went from a 7 to a 4. I'm going from a 5, and I'm going up. So, not listen. I can't go super high because Emma's not controlling shit. Like, she's not doing anything. But that being said, I think some people that are being quiet are going to be used as pawns. But I think Emma being quiet in this big group is saying enough when people reach out to her. So I think she'll be safe for the time being, and she's proven that she can win comps, maybe. And I think we will get to that point. I do see her as being somewhat pawn material for the other side, but the other side's not looking for pawns. They're looking for people to nominate and take out of the house. So I don't think she's in any danger of leaving. If anything, I think her position in the house is more secured. So I'm gonna move up Emma from a 5 up to a 6 for me, making her average score a 5. Moving on to Erin Donaher. And Erin, I never know what to put Erin, because Erin is crazy.
Erin is crazy. Erin was like, I don't know if this is her exact wording today, but she was like, I didn't even know James Bowl was in this game. Or like she was like, I don't even know who James Bowl is. I was like, what? It's like days 5, 6. It was day 6. So yeah. Can you recap us on?
Oh, yes, I can. Sorry, I didn't really need to say it. Erin got 5s from both of us last week.
Okay. Erin, one of the best players in Big Brother history, a winner, is somehow nowhere on anybody's radar. I don't get any of this. She's one of the best players to ever play the game, and she was never once considered for nomination. Besides, she was considered last week very heavily, but not this week at all. I can't believe it. She's branched out a lot too, so I feel like she's fairly good moving forward, which is crazy. But then again, I feel like we don't see a lot of Erin in general, so I feel like I will go up, but I will go to a 6.
Alrighty. Spoiler alert, I am also going up to a 6. I've given a 6 to a lot of people, and I will continue to give out 6s. And for me, a 6 is you're not running anything, but you're in a very good spot where you're really not going to be touched. And as long as you just kind of keep your voice up a little bit in there, and people are like, oh yeah, I remember that I'm an ally with you, you should be fine. I think that's where she's at right now. People have talked from time to time, but I don't think anyone from her side of the house is going to target her. And again, I think the other side is aiming in a different direction right now. Plus, Juliana and Reza think they have a grasp on her, which is lies. She wants nothing to do with you two. So I'm moving up to a 6. I think she's at a fine position. Similar to Emma, she's not doing a ton right now. She's doing more than Emma, to her credit. But yeah, I think Erin's like in just a nice, good position right now. Now on to James. James is a very confusing case for me this week. Last week we both gave James 7s. Where do you stand on James this week?
James, I know he's still in the mix. He is also someone since scripting. We didn't script anything before last rate rankings. But since scripting, I've like come to notice that like he is really like good at like talking with people and like making them feel good, which is like something I guess I didn't see last week or last rankings. Mm, and I'm trying to think where James fell into this entire um, plan because I think most of it in the um, juniors part was it was Anthony. I want to say.
Um,
Um,
Anthony did most of the convincing, but James had to give the final push and go for like Maeve to be like, okay.
that's what I imagine. I'm gonna stay at a 7 this week. I think.
Alrighty, Steven is staying at a 7 for James. I am so torn. I consider going down to a 6. I consider staying down to a 7. I consider moving up to an 8. Um, and that's because like I feel like his position is insane. He's talked to so many people, and everyone said, "I trust James. I trust James. I trust James. I trust James." That's what they've said. Which is crazy. No one should trust James. James is playing everyone. James will cut you as soon as it's convenient for him. And right now he doesn't need to, so it's gonna look like he's working with you, but he's in it. He's playing this game masterfully. But with that being said, again, Maeve is the face of this move, and James's face is very closely linked with Maeve. Like I do worry that he gets looped in with that. But because like right now we don't necessarily know what the other side will do. God, I am so torn. I think I'm also going to stay at a 7 for James. Okay. Julia Flatley, another very crazy and interesting case. Last week I gave Julia a 4, and Steven gave Julia a 3.
Yeah. I think again she was still in the shadows until Anthony told her that she was gonna be put up, and then I think we really saw her like come alive and talk to more people, which was so fun to see. And I think we finally got some sort of game out of Julia, which is good. And she's really confident now in her DR, which I like. I think I like that she's kind of getting more into the game now that she has to. I gave her a 3 last week. I think Julia is good. I don't like. I keep saying this about like most people, but I think Julia is good. I'm gonna go up from a 3 to a 6 this week.
Alrighty, Steven goes to a 6. Last week I gave Julia a 4. I also will be going up to a 6. I think that Julia, specifically, the best thing that could have happened to her was people target her, and then someone having the decency to reach out, save her, and say, "This is not smart for my game." Because before this week, Julia was absolutely expendable to pretty much everybody except like K-Pow, maybe Grace. Which is sad because like I love Julia. Julia is back for a reason. And I think now we're seeing the reason that she is back because she, I think, this week became the little fly that people cannot swat, and I think she's going to continue flying around for quite some time. She does have the competition prowess to back her up later down the line because I do think she will be here for a while to start to get a little more of a route. My biggest worry for Julia is that going into next week, she goes, okay, I'm safe this week. I don't have to say anything. And if she slips back under the shadows too much and doesn't talk to anyone, her position is going to go down as well. So I'm at a 6 for now. And I think like the 6 is really that teeter point of like, are you going to go up or are you going to go down? And that's where I'm at with Julia currently. Juliana. Last week, Juliana got an 8 from me and got a 7 from Steven.
And
what? All from Grace.
You said I gave her a 7?
You gave her a 7.
Oh, Juliana. Uh, that breaks my heart. But she, the LARPers made a group chat. Her own friends made a group chat without her. Oh, that hurts. I think that she is also in contention to go next week. I think it could very, very well be Kate and Juliana up on the block next week. Which I hope that it's that like a season 3 person wins HOH and a non-season 3 person wins HOH, and then they nominate each other, and then it's like an actual like battle of the block. That would be so cool. I almost want a season 3 person. I would love to see Juliana win HOH next week. I would love that. I will go. I was at a 7. I will go down. I won't go as low as a 4 that I gave Kate, because I think Kate is more in trouble. I will give Juliana no, I'm going to say a 4. I'm going to give her a 4.
Cool. Yes, Juliana. Initially when like the plot started to turn on Dan, I was like, okay, Dan's in trouble, Kate's in trouble, Luke is in trouble. Those are the 3 names that are going around in terms of like, these people can't be trusted. They're working with Dan. They're playing us. Not okay. Juliana wasn't really in the mix of our. Anthony Hayes from day one has pegged Juliana as like the power player. We need to weaken her. Hasn't said I want to go after her, but I need to weaken Juliana. That being said, this week when Dan Plan started to go out, no one wanted to tell Juliana a thing. And I think that everyone's loyalty lies to someone else before it does to Juliana. Of the group of season 3, I would put her like right in the middle in terms of how likely I think they go home. I think that Kate and Luke, I think Kate, her, and Luke are in the more likely pod, and that Grace and Reza are probably in like tier 2, depending on who wins HOH. But man, oh man, she's not in a good spot. I can't. Last week, quote me, I said Juliana is in the most powerful position in the game. No, not true anymore. I have Kate at a 3. I'm gonna give Juliana a 4 because I do think people would evict Kate over Juliana, and if they're sitting next to each other, I do think Juliana has a better shot. But that being said, like she's not in a good spot. She fell big.
I'll be very different next week. Who knows?
Alrighty, Juliet Morgan. Juliet currently has a 5 from both of us. Where do you stand on Juliet this week, Steven?
Dang. I feel like the only reason I gave Juliet a 5 last week is because she was prominent in the Heroes versus Villains competition. Since then, I feel like she's A, she hasn't been that very active, and B, I think she chose the wrong side. She should not have chosen to be looped in with those season 3 people, because now her face is there too for some unknown reason. I have no idea why she's looped in with season 3.
I do think I know the reason, and I'll get to it in my explanation.
It could be from Dan and Juliet in the competition together. I think that is a big reason. This week I'm going to go down to a 4 on Juliet.
Yeah. Juliet is the only non-season 3 member that's not included. Oh, good.
Voice is calling.
Can't wait to hear what they're saying.
Oh my god.
They're the only. Juliet is the only non-season 3 person to not be included in the Dan plan. That's not a good spot to be. You don't want to be, like I said, Maeve is on the bottom rung. Juliet's even lower. It's not looking good for her. And I think she falls in a weird place in the middle where I think that now that she's aware, like based off of what she just said in her diary room, I do think she is going to end up voting to evict Dan, which will be good for her. But like that being said, no one had the thought or the decency to say like, oh, Juliet will be in on this. And maybe that's because they thought they were connected, maybe to Dan. Maybe that's because no one was connected to her. Either way, both of those things are not good. I also do unfortunately have to go down on Juliet. I'm going to go down to a 4 as well. Moving on to Luke. Luke is another one. Last week, Luke was the HOH and got a 7 from me and a 6 from Steven.
I mean, obviously, Luke was also unaware on this plan this week. And I think that he is right there at the top with Kate and Juliana. Reza's definitely on a lower tier on the nomination chain for season 3 people, along with Grace, I think. But I think Luke is definitely a big face of the season 3 alliance, which is not very where you want to be. I gave him a 6 last week. I'm sorry, I keep asking this. I should just
gave him a 6 last week, yeah.
But I don't know. I think Luke is very savvy, and I think that he would be able to stay over people like Juliana, or maybe not Juliana, but definitely like Kate. I definitely think he could convince the vote over some other people in that alliance too. I'm gonna give Luke a 5 this week.
Alrighty. I was at a 7 last week. I'm dropping Luke down quite a few rungs because not only is he looped into he was in such a good position last week. He won the first HOH. He did everything you were supposed to do as the first HOH. Nominate 2 people that would lose, be house targets. No one's upset at you for nominating them. You made lots of allies. You're in with people. That's great. And then you came into this week and you used none of it. He followed up with 0 people. 0 people. He didn't until it's convenient. And when you do that, you look sketchy. People loop him in with the season 3 people. He was sort of in the talks to go on the block this week on Caitlin's side. He's certainly not safe. I still do think that Kate is in more danger, but like I gave Kate a 3, I'm giving Luke a 4 because I don't think it's by much. Him and Juliana are right there, and I don't know if there is a ton that they can do right now.
Okay.
And that makes Luke's average 4.5. And finally, we have Ross. Ross last week got a 5 from both of us.
I think Ross deserves to go up this week. Again, it's these people that we put so low last week because we thought they would be in danger, but they were only in danger because the G Hanelians Hate Club wanted them out. But now they're like, oh, Ross. And I think Ross, after being an HOH last week, he also has been not talking that much in the house chat. He's been staying quiet, but still connecting with people he needs to connect to. So I think I'm going to go up to a 7 this week with Ross.
Alrighty, Steven moves Ross up to a 7. I agree that Ross definitely deserves to go up this week. He's played, I think what he didn't do last week as HOH, he's making up for this week in that he is reaching out and solidifying things with a lot of people. He has Bella. Hayes said he wants to work with him. He's solidified with Reza this week. He has David. He has Anthony V. He has solidified the side of the house with K-Pow, with Julia. I think Erin really trusts him. I think Emma really trusts him. All these people really trust Ross. There is still a little bit of the rumblings of we can always backdoor Ross. And as long as his name is still being thrown out there, I can't go up a ton. I do think as the weeks go on, if he continues to play this up and other targets emerge, he'll be able to slip under the radar. But for right now, because his name is still coming up a little bit, I'm only going to go up to 6. Alrighty, and those are the rankings. So currently, the highest ranked person is David Fassbender.
Oh my god.
No, let's go back to the draft. David and James are the last 2 picked people. Let's look at who's number 2. Oh, it's James. What? Why are these the top 2?
The last 3 people were David, James, and Matt. I should have given you Matt.
What? No, Lord knows I was not taking Matt, and Lord knows I was right about that.
The last pick, though. I should have taken David and James, and then
Yeah,
left.
you should have taken David and James.
I took David.
Hindsight 2020. Yes, and then second place we have James, we have Alex, we have Anthony Ventresca, all in great spots, all making moves. On the bottom side, last place, Dan. Dan is in a horrible position. I don't think there's anything he can do. If he pulls something out, God bless him. But like, based off of what these votes are looking like, people are lying to him because this group chat of Dan's biggest mistake, which by the way, may be the best alliance name in the history of ever. I think it was Bella, or no, it was Anthony Ventresca who made that. Like, hilarious. Callback and Julie didn't go on the block. Funny. Dan is, for lack of a better word, fucked.
24 hours though. Who knows? Anything can happen.
The last though is indeed right hand man and Kate. Kate is not in a great spot, and then right there with them is Juliana and Juliet.
I just want to say, in the past hour since the veto meeting happened, I have 1,100 texts.
Yeah,
in
me too.
1 hour, 1,100 texts. Oh God,
There's never, like, literally everyone remembers season 2. That was in season 2 when week 2 we called a ceasefire on texts. That was nothing. That was nothing.
No, I remember getting 2,000 texts that week. It was 2,000 texts in like an hour. I remember that was insane. I don't know why it was insane. All right, anyway. But week 2.
Like, granted, the circumstances are different now with the way the episodes are working, but like even still, this might go down as, I think, so far, I can't think of another week in BB history that has been this blindsiding, this exciting. This many people have been up. I mean, backwards week is maybe the only other week that this many people were talked about to go home. And it landed on Dan. Like, that's crazy.
One of the most. I don't know if I'll put it in my favorites. I have to like put Maggie's eviction near the top too.
That is true. Maggie's eviction was up there. I also think like Bella saving Ross at the veto, and then still saying that's also right up there.
First week in the series that like was like, whoa, like that just happened. Like our friends are actually being like Big Brother masterminds here. And then also like Juliet going home was also a great week because we saw like
Juliet going home and K-Power not going home was a great week. Alex going home in season 1 was a crazy eviction. Dan going home in season 3 was crazy with the tie vote. There's so many great moments. Season 4 happened.
Season 4, the eviction that was great was. Oh, I didn't freeze. I just didn't have anything to say.
What was great? I mean, I suppose Hates' eviction was like kind of exciting.
I guess Megan was
like,
Megan was good.
I
mean, compared to all of these evictions, like no.
Sure, compared to the other ones.
Compared to the other ones in season 4, okay. I can't think about that season anymore. I can't. Okay, so that's all. The eviction's tomorrow. I guess you'll already know who went home already. We don't though. When you're watching this.
Oh, that's true. I guess I will watch Grace go home and we look like fools. Nah.
I would. Dan would have to go up super high next week if like if he pulls this off. This would be one of the great.
There's no way he does.
I mean, you never know. But I don't want to say you never know, and then people will be like, "Oh, how did you not know?" Like, yeah, I mean, like, you know. All right.
Well, that's all we got for now. We'll see you next week when the next
time last rankings, we had no idea that this would be happening. So
I don't imagine. For all we know, next week
anything can happen. Dan could be HOH next week for all we know. Like literally.
Oh my God! Imagine next week we're talking about Dan as the HOH. No, I imagine his face is not on this board next week.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
We'll see.
If it is, kudos to him. But if not, I mean, like to his credit, there's not really much he can do.
Yeah.
And he's still a great player. He didn't lose anyone in season 3, but he just.
It does suck seeing a lot of these like greats like go really
great to the game go. But that's what this is. Like anyone could go and it'd be a great of the game. So.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's all we have for you this week. We will see you in week 3 for our week 3 rankings.
Yeah.